I'm going to tell you a story about when I ran a half marathon the day after a 100 miler. Even just saying it out loud, this is a 100% true story, but even saying it out loud or acknowledging the fact that I did that makes me laugh because it's kind of absurd, but it's a true story nonetheless. I have this group of friends in this running group called Trip, and they're just amazing, fun people, and we do all sorts of random fun challenges. And there's one event that's gone on the past couple of years called No Rest November and Sudden Death December. In No Rest November, you run a 10K every single day. So every day in November, you're running a 10K, 6.2 miles. And then when you get into December, every day you add an additional kilometer onto that run. So it's 10K the last day of November, 11K on the 1st of December, 12K, 13K, 14K, 15K, and you just continue to go until there's one person left. And so I wasn't aware of this challenge at the beginning of the year, and at the beginning of, this was in 2022. I wasn't aware of this, like I didn't even really know the people in this group yet, but I had already signed up for a 100-mile race, last one standing race in St. George, Utah. And so this race was really important to me because I felt like I had some unfinished business. First year I ran 66 miles. The second year I finished it, but I really wanted to win this race, and it was something I'd been thinking about for years. And so I had signed up for it, and it's like, I believe it was December 9th. And so I'm training, going about this, but I eventually start making friends in the running community, and they turn me on to this No Rest November, Sudden Death December event. And so I remember one friend saying something like, "Are you going to sign up?" And I was like, "I got a 100-miler in December. I don't know if I can run a 10K every day leading up to it, and then 11K, 12K, 13K. I'd probably be running like 10 miles the day before the 100-mile race." And my friend said, "Well, I'm signed up for that race too." And I was like, "Oh, well, if he's going to do it, I could do it." Funny thing is he didn't show up to the race. Something came up. But he got me into No Rest November. And so I, it was a minimum of a 10K every day, and I got through November. But I get to December, and I'm like, okay, let's see how long I can do this. And I run 11K on the first, and 12K on the second, and 13K on the third. And I eventually get to the day before this last one standing race, this race I wanted to win. And I believe I ran in total in that week from Monday to Sunday, including the race, about 158 miles in that week. Something along, it might have been somewhere around there. And so the day before I run 11 miles or whatever the distance was, and I'm starting to worry about my race now because I'm like training hard and putting in a lot of miles and had been for over a month now. And I just also reminded myself that that's kind of the point of these longer distance races or these ultra events, is that you have to endure, and you get to surprise yourself with the power of the mind and what the body is capable of, right? And so I show up to the race, and it was one of those days where things just went well. I mean, obviously it was hard, and there's so much I could talk about then. But what I really wanted to talk about was the day after, because technically I fulfilled the requirements of distance on the 9th and 10th, if I'm remembering those dates right. It was 100 miles, so it starts in the evening, and I did about 40 miles, so that would have covered the minimum requirements for Sudden Death December. I finished the race the next day. I think it ends around like 7:30 p.m. or something. And then I go to bed. I get home, recover, shower, eat, and I go to bed and wake up the next morning, already have coffee, ready to go. I have my shoes and clothes out, and I go out to run this half marathon the day after a 100 miles race, because it was, 14K I had to fulfill at that point, something like that. And so what I decided to do was go back to where the race was, and I just won the race the day before, and I decided to do the loops in reverse for this day. So it's like a 6-mile loop, and I decided to do it twice and finish off with a mile. And there was something that within me that wanted to see what was possible, right? Because I didn't have to do it in a specific amount of time. I just had to get the miles in for the day. But I start off, and I'm definitely jacked off of caffeine, but I start running around 8-minute mile pace. And I somehow just maintain this pace the day after running 102 miles. and I finished the half marathon in whatever that time is. I think it's, it was about an 8-minute pace, so 8 times 13.1. Yeah, like in an hour and 40 minutes, which is just crazy because, I mean, it was the day after 100 miler. And I remember that last mile I ran, I think a sub 7-minute mile. And I walked away from this run, I think if I was being honest with myself, more proud than the 100-mile one the day before, because there was no one there for me. Like with the 100-mile race, there was aid, my crew and the aid stations and other people to run with. But that half marathon I had to get done by myself, and it was all me. Like yes, I was listening to music, and yes, I had some caffeine, but that run was just all me. There was no one motivating me, pushing me. I could have just walked the whole day and gotten the requirements in for Sudden Death December, but I wanted to see what was there and what I was capable of, and I, obviously, was able to handle it and exceed it. I mean, I don't know how often people run an hour and 40-minute half marathon the day after a 100-mile race. So it was something I was really proud of, for sure. And I think it just attributes the power of the mind and what's possible when you risk believing in greatness. So if you want to hear more running stories or hear more running tips, I post content pretty regularly on running because it's basically the love of my life. So I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the things I post. If you don't want to, that's totally fine too. I appreciate your time nonetheless, and I look forward to seeing you on the trails sometime soon.